This is the sound of worlds beyond number.
Thundering hooves gallop down the road from the eastern edge of the city of Bracken. The horizon, a sliver of dull gray, the clouds still hanging low over the Shroud Mountains. 3 true friends, 3 horses, ride east, turning suddenly south down the road. You make for 12 Brooks, some 70 miles southeast of here. Riding on open road, pushing your horses as fast as you can, you'll be able to make it there in a day and a half, but you will need to stop for rest somewhere along the path before you can get there. The question is, how do you choose to approach? How do you choose to get there? The river Lydwyn curves west at the southeastern edge of Halaker Forest, before eventually some 40 miles south, turning back towards 12 Brooks. Riding on this current road, you will meet the curve of the river and join it, heading to 12 Brooks, sometime around nightfall, riding straight to it. As you depart that morning, the first time that you take a break to water the horses, what is your plan? How do you wish to approach?
Suvie happily defers all of the planning to her friends. Looks very specifically at Ursulon.
Mm-hmm. Ursulon welcomes it. Has Ame showed Ursulon the map yet, as we kind of make this first stop?
Absolutely. I've spread it out and asked for input.
How far does it extend? Because I know above the table you've been talking about it being more than just 12 Brooks, but how much of the area does it show?
Because 12 Brooks is a large enough town, it shows about a mile in all directions because it charts the waterways into the city, right? Mm-hmm. So you have about, the map is probably depicting on this sheet of paper about 4 miles wide and about 4 miles tall, depicting this, 3-mile diameter city in the middle of the map.
Ursulon looks to Suvie. I have 2 questions. Do you have an understanding of where the line between the Empire and Gauthmai forces begins? And then how close would Gauthmai be to a city they are sieging?
Suvie pulls out her map where she was sort of marking and updating information about troop movements and enemy territory. What do I know?
Give me a history check with advantage.
With advantage?
I feel like you've just been in a city with access to all of this information.
26.
The lines of the Empire meet the lines of Gauthmai about halfway between Bracken and 12 Brooks.
Suvie communicates that as best she can as she is sort of updating her map. And to the sort of later question about how close they would be, I think Suvie just sort of shrugs and says, if it's a siege, then they are right outside the gates.
Understood. And Ame, this language, what is it called?
Toroi.
And so this indicates different paths to enter the subsystem.
Well, these ones over here do. Yeah, these ones over here you don't have to worry about.
Oh, understood.
What do they say?
I whisper in Suvie's ear. Some real juicy, real explicit.
Okay, now I need to know.
Any other day, Suvie would look scandalized and so happy to fall into this. you see Suvie go cold with this and then nod and say, it's unimportant.
Understood. You said that based on what you heard, Ame, the garrison is in the center.
That's right.
So what is the furthest entry point that reaches to that central place?
Looking at the map, there's an interesting thing here because you're passing some waterways, like on your way. There's a lot of, you're entering sort of closer to the river Lydwyn, so there's a lot more streams and rivers, a lot of stone bridges, big arching bridges that tend to have like low railings, like little pedestrian kind of bridges for, the horses have to go single file to like ride over them. You're noticing that the water is lower, but there's still streams and rivers here. You think that whatever this plan was, it's not an immediate effect. Like, as powerful as the magic of spirits is, Umora is still a landscape with an ecosystem, with a water table, with all these other things, and that the rivers will lessen over time. But looking at this map, up the river Lydwyn before it hits the castle, because the castle is really where the falls start. There is an early smuggler's cave, of which there are many up and down the breadth of the Lydwyn, that is set there that, look, it's close. It's like maybe about 3/4 of a mile away from the castle. So it's not going to be necessarily where the clashing of troops is happening, but that'll be enemy encampment for sure. You'll be in the thick of it there. But there is a smuggler's cave that has a passage that gets down to the dungeons underneath the castle.
Understood. Once we reach the city, I believe we should aim for one of the outerlying smuggler's caves and use that to enter. With regard to moving closer to 12 Brooks, I do wonder if it might be better to leave the horses and go by boat.
Looking at your map of the Shroud Mountains, Suvie, there's a town that is not even like named on the map, but you know it because a lot of troops have moved from there. It is not on lines, but it is the last big supply depot before Imperial lines. So it's close to enemy territory. But it's a big river town called Reedport. Reedport is like the biggest settlement upriver from 12 Brooks. Big, lazy curve in the Lydwyn, a sort of lowland, as far as lowlands get in the mountains, but like kind of a lowland little sweet, merchant town on the river, a little clock tower across the river from the main town. That Reedport is your most direct line getting to where you need to go, and there's going to be boats aplenty there, even in wartime.
Reedport. I think that's a good idea, and that's our best avenue. I also ought to say that we should keep an eye on the skies, and if we see Imperial ships overhead, or even if we don't, looking up, is it super cloudy?
Yes, very cloudy.
It might be up there anyway. And Suvie gives as clinical a retelling of her conversation with Silver as she can. So he knows, and there's a non-zero chance that he's alerted them, and there might be eyes out for our approach.
Ursulon's going to put a hand on Suvie's shoulder. Okay.
Thank you.
If it's all right with everyone, I believe Reedport should be our destination.
Agreed.
Let's go.
You take to the road as fast as you can. You know that with a heavy mobilization that morning, that Bracken will be the opposite of chaos, but hectic, right? It'll be gearing up, heading out, wagons, supplies, sky ships. They're about to make a long march with, 90+% of their troops on foot down the roads, headed for the front line to make a push on 12 Brooks. So on horseback, you're going to be able to put miles behind you and them. But as you've said, the question is who knows what, and regardless of whether Silver told anybody or not, you're certainly not in Bracken.
Yeah.
So, I will ask, taking off on the road, you said keeping an eye on the sky. Are there any actions you are taking in your travels with the understanding that stealth is going to slow you down, that going off the road is going to slow you down, that like getting to Reedport before nightfall is only happening on horseback, full gallop, riding on roads?
Suvie will use a consistent like recharging of disguise self, and the form is feminine but an attempt at a like average across the people from this area that she's seen. So she's not averaging off of like obvious Citadel people, but like anyone that she thinks is from this area, she's going to try to look like one of them in the least ostentatious way possible.
Hell yeah. What is the duration time on Disguise Self?
An hour.
An hour. Okay, cool. How many times can you cast it?
4 on my own, 3 if I use the ring. 3 more if I use the ring.
That's fascinating. Okay, cool. I am going to need... The first thing we're going to do is we're going to go hour by hour, and I'm just going to roll some luck checks in front of the board. The first thing...
Roll good.
Man, I was feeling so good at the beginning of this episode, and right now my stomach is doing fucking backflips.
Join me here,
I was
brother.
just like, yeah, we're doing it. And now it's like, okay, luck check every hour to see if our favorite captain fucking descends from the sky.
So, we are going to roll. And I'm going to say, for our purposes, it's a 1 through 4 that's bad news for us. But a 1 is really bad news.
You don't have to say it like that. You're not going to roll a 1.
Roll number 1.
What is it?
What is it? What is it?
That's a 13.
Oh my god, dude! It really is intense in here. I'm trying to read more rules to see if there's anything else I can do, and I'm like losing. I heard that drop, and I went, oh shit.
Brennan, you sent Lou to like rules lawyer law school.
Yeah.
I'm just checking it. I'm checking it out. I'm just going over the books one more time.
Yeah.
Riding through Riverlands, you see meadows, trees, sort of coming over low mountains with long, shallow slopes. You know, a lot of following rivers. At this point, lots of following streams and creeks and things like that headed towards the Lydwyn. The tributaries are coming to the Great River together, and that's largely what you're following at this point. And that first hour, it is still early morning, and you got the cloud cover as well. So it is like mist and dew, even a low-hanging sky ship, probably not going to catch you, and plenty of tree cover on the roads, right? Something's got to be right. If something's flying way off in the sky at an angle, not great odds it sees you with the tree cover. But terrain's going to open up the closer you get.
I think Ursulon is feeling some of me, Lou Wilson's anxiety. I'm going to cast heroism on my horse.
Hell yes. What does heroism do again?
It just imbues the creature with bravery. It's immune to being frightened and has, I think, 4 temporary hit points.
Hell yeah.
I think Ursulon just kind of leans down into his horse. Ride hard, brother. You keep us safe.
The horse continues galloping forward. Next roll. That's a 9.
You fucker. I'll stab you.
I'll provide Lou Wilson the help action.
Oh, what's happening, dude?
Hour 3 of 7.
Hour 3 of what?
Hour 3 of 7 hours.
Oh my god! Oh god!
I have to poop.
Funnily enough, 7.
Stop.
Have fun.
Are you having fun?
I'm having a ball. For all the GMs at home, just a little clickety-clack of a plastic polyhedron and get a reaction like you wouldn't get anywhere else in your life.
All right, will you describe the environment just to make me feel better? Did you say we have tree cover again or something?
At this point now, you are riding as often as not through towns, and with the sun firmly up in the sky, you actually see that you're deep enough behind, again, like imperial lines, that they're just like farmers working in the fields. And you get some polite waves from people, a lot of townsfolk, otherwise, people with like bushels and bales. And you actually even pass some other imperial soldiers who don't even really regard you. Just see 3 travelers on their way somewhere within enemy lines and or go about their business collecting supplies, shipping food off to the front lines.
The moment Suvie was like, I gotta disguise myself, she is gonna look at Ame and be like, I never want you to put your light under a barrel. Can you look 30% less like a witch?
Yes, Ame, I must ask, do you have a second hat?
Maybe no hat. Maybe no hat.
Maybe no hats for anyone.
What hat am I wearing?
Well,
Who else has a hat?
oh, wait, here, you wear my hat.
No one should wear a hat that looks like a witch.
All right.
Just slapping all the
So
whimsical things you pull out of your bag. Like,
yeah,
not that.
I pull out
not that.
like a cloak that has little bells on it. I pull out a small hat. It looks like a miniature
Katie
version
Tunstall,
of
Suddenly I See is playing, and I'm like, not that.
Okay. How about and I have a shawl that has butterflies on it.
I think we can work with that.
Inside out, at least.
Okay. I turn it inside out, and it looks fairly normal. It's cotton, and on the inside it is not dyed any ostentatious colors.
That's my win.
Hour 4.
Stop!
This is your last hour of casting under your own power.
Yeah.
$11.
This is not okay.
You're sick.
No dramatic pausing.
You're sick.
All right,
hands
no
are
more,
hot.
No more dramatic pauses. Great.
No, do it.
So
Fine.
now,
You
so
can.
okay, so the disguise is continuing. You're feeding energy into this disguise so that you do not look like yourself. The end of this last hour is the last of your natural magical potency, unless you're upcasting, right?
Yeah, no, I want those.
Yes. So, what are you going to do after that 4th hour?
Just a heads up, everyone. I've kind of burnt through my ability to do this without... And you can see that she's just fussing with her ring, like on her thumb.
I can help.
Okay. And like a short little... Like, I think Suvie landed on like kind of ruddy, a little short and a little soft, and sort of like dark... curly, but like short, like a little fuck ass bob hair. Just like, yeah, what you got? Because this is about to go away.
Ame gathers a handful of petals from the nearby bush and some grass and starts to festoon Suvie with it, whimsically throwing up handfuls of plant material. Okay. And holds up a tiny steel mirror, and you do not see yourself.
Have you cast invisibility on me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I guess sort of just pull my horse behind the other horses.
So you hold up that mirror, and you are completely unseen.
Suvie nods.
Yeah.
No one sees it.
Yeah.
So a 3rd horse is just traveling alongside you. They
I'll
sort of-
attach a rope from my horse to that horse.
Perfect. Hour 5. Oh, I said I wasn't going to pause. 10.
Oh, no, you can
I want
pause.
you to have your fun.
Now that Ame's pulling out stops, we're back.
Hold on.
is
Hold on. You're about to say something about it being an hour.
Yeah.
The hour rolls over and you still don't see Suvie. I also have invisibility. Cast without a spell slot because of my shadow-touched feet.
Oh, shit!
Oh, snap.
Ame comes up to Suvie with the handfuls of grass and dust.
No! No! Boo, I'm a ghost. Don't put trash on me.
The fox goes, this spellcasting is rough, boss.
Well, it's okay. They're not actually components of the spell anyway.
And I go, what?
Hour 6. The river Lydwyn comes into view, far distant. You see its massive banks. A little bit of mud on the side of the river has partially lowered already, but still a full and mighty river. That's a 4. A skyship descends from the clouds. It gets menacingly low until its shadow falls over you. As its shadow falls over you, what, if anything, do you all do?
Ursulon is doing his best to just stay the course. The fact that Suvie is hidden and also isn't... Ursulon looks back at Suvie's horse to make sure it seems that she is still invisible. Looks to Ame, nods, and then just looks ahead.
What's the speed we're moving at?
You're at a nice canter. You're cantering.
Or do we have tree cover at all?
No, this thing is right on top of you. It has spotted you. I would like a group deception check from everybody. Because Suvie is hidden, you can roll, but you will automatically succeed and have the potential to use a good roll to replace somebody else's roll.
Thank God.
Amazing.
So let's go ahead and get this deception roll.
With a 7, I don't contribute.
12.
16.
Okay. The fox is also going to give you the help action, Ame.
19 on the die. That's 25.
Hell yeah. Remember, those familiars are always here ready to help out. So that's a 16 and a 25. Ursula, you stay the course. Ame, you feel your hands reflexively go to cast, and then recognize that you're just a man and a woman in a kerchief taking a horse to market. So there's no need to panic. Probably slow down because an Imperial skyship is scary. But, you just slow. They're not hailing you. The ship menacingly hangs over you for longer than you would like, probably 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and then lifts back into the clouds and leaves.
Almost there. Almost there.
Almost there.
Afternoon sunlight is starting to stream, and you've been riding since the crack of dawn. It is your last hour. You have used your secret, or you have used your feet, shadow touched. Ame, do you have another invisibility left?
I do. Yes.
I can also cast it.
Okay.
The feat does allow you to cast it if you have spell slots. To do
Oh, great. Okay, copy that. Cool. Which of you is casting it?
I will do it.
Okay.
I can feel as the magic starts to lessen. Suvie will actually, you feel the horse she's sitting on hesitate and pull back on the rope as Suvie, actually, kind of gets it to, rein, so it looks a little natural, and Suvie's going to slip off of the horse, recast, just in case there's a flash of it and there's someone watching. She's fully paranoid now, and then is going to, remount with 1 more hour of invisibility.
1 more hour to read port. That's another 4. Once again, we're going to do the exact same thing. This is a group deception roll.
That's another 19 on the die for 26.
Okay.
I help with 4.
This is why it's good you're invisible.
Yes, sir!
11.
Okay. Another ship lowers, buzzing over you and fully docking. The rope ladder spiral staircase emerges from it, and you see an Imperial skyship dock in Reedport. You approach the town. You know that it must have spotted you, but also now there are enough people. It's mid-afternoon. The town seems busy. You see there's a couple big barges being loaded up here, and you can already see that there are barracks. There's a lot of Imperial soldiers here. This is going to be the gathering point for the push. Reedport is 8 miles from the front lines. This is where they are going to gather to make the push through Gouthmai to get to 12 Brooks. It happens here. And you can already see that effectively the red carpet is being rolled out, right? You hear construction, you hear shouting, people are getting things ready. You can see 1 or 2 constructs like at the edge of the town. And again, it's like a sleepy little river town that hugs this sort of double S curve as the river takes a wider, bigger curve around. You see that there are some algae on the large river harbor pier points where the water has receded and show some of the algae down at the base. And across the river there's a little clock tower. There are a number, it looks like there's a sort of promenade by the waterfront. So there's open seating restaurants and these cute little slate roof things. There's a lot of little steeples and there's some bell towers on a little city civic building. And you see that there are a couple little shrines throughout this place. And you see that the shrines, there's one sort of central shrine close to the water that has a large tarp over it, just clean, sort of waxy canvas tarp over the shrine. As you approach the town, what do you do?
Suvie is going to dismount the horse. She's going to try to get as far away from anyone near that ship as she can while still keeping her friends in range.
Do you say anything?
I will whisper low enough that I hope the fox, and then if you have very good hearing, can pick it up, but I don't want a person hearing anything.
Mm-hmm.
I've got eyes on you. I'm hanging back.
My eyes land on the tarp covering the shrine. I look over at Ursula and I say, brother, perhaps you should see about finding a boat. I shall go look to the town center, and I indicate the shrine.
Of course, sister. I may wait I'm not sure procuring a boat will be as simple as asking for services, so I may just
Yes.
keep an eye on things.
I understand. Thank you.
Perhaps I will do these hardworking soldiers the service of returning some horses that found their way to our farm.
That's very kind of you. Yes.
Is it clear where Ame is headed? Do I see a beeline towards the tarp?
I think so, yes.
And Suvie's going to do her best to intercept. And if Ame dismounts or gets close enough that Suvie can get low words to her and just be are you sure you want to look under the tarp and alert everyone here that you're looking under the tarp?
Well, what plan of action would you suggest?
Not making waves. We need a boat, and we need to not be noticed. I'm invisible. Please carry that energy to the boat we need.
If I can find a way to unobtrusively get under that tarp.
Why do you need to get under the tarp?
Because I have a feeling that we might be able to enlist some help. Just the way that we did at Abyssin.
That help was beautiful and not discreet. And you are now very aware of what the Imperium can do to spirits, even when they're trying to help. I trust you. Please, if there is anything else you can do, I beg you to do it.
Suvie, you also begin to feel that you're a few minutes out from this last casting of the spell fading away.
I will see you at the docks. And Suvie's going to back off and then try to get to a low corner. Suvie will let it fade somewhere discreet and upcast disguise self.
Okay. You upcast disguise self. You are now free to walk about the town. Where are you headed to? Towards the docks?
Yes.
Okay. You head towards the docks. With your passive investigation, you see that there are a number of different craft here, almost all of them requisitioned by the Empire. But anything that's not suitable for military use is, of course, not commandeered or requisitioned. So, rowboats, you see one or two canoes pulled up onto the banks somewhere else. Smaller craft appears to be available around here. And by available, I don't mean for sale, but I mean available.
Yeah.
Ursulon with the horses, where are you headed?
Also to the docks.
Okay.
Slowing to like a gentle walking pace, trying to match the energy of what I would identify as just citizens.
Okay. You continue to move. Ame, what are you doing?
Box, I say in my head. I told Suvie we would keep a low profile, but we do need to find out what is under that tarp. Can you go for it?
Yeah, I got you, boss.
Okay, but stay out of sight. Do it quietly and carefully, please.
Go ahead and give me a stealth check for the fox.
Dirty 20.
You beautiful man. Woohoo! You beautiful little man.
The fox gets under the tarp, looks up, goes, Big stone frog. Big stone frog.
I blink and come up in the fox's eyes. What do I see?
It appears to be a statue to the great bullfrog here at the water's edge. You see that there's some clay bowls that are empty, but, it's a shrine to the spirit. You see that there are places where some offerings were made a long time ago. You see that there are a number of small little wooden picks that have fallen into, like, the cracks around here, like people leave their guitar picks, or they have fallen in.
All right, Fox. What's your favorite song that you know?
A Wandering We Will Go.
Okay. A wandering we will go.
A wandering we will go.
On the Marion, a wandering we will go.
Do you want me to really sing it?
Yeah.
Okay. A wandering we will go, a wandering we will go. Hi-ho the dairy-o.
In the fox's head, I try to open up my senses the way that I do when I'm contacting the spirits.
Your senses are no longer in the fox. You're on the street.
What do I sprint towards the town square.
You rush to the shrine. Arrive there. I think Ursulon and Suvie, you can both see this. As you arrive at the tarp, what do?
Is he under there? Can I see anything? Is there anything surrounding the tarp?
He snuck in under the edge of the fabric. You can lift it up if you like.
Okay, I look around. Are there many people nearby?
Oh, yeah. Busy waterfront, people working, yeah. But no one's, looking at you in particular that you can see. Actually, give me a perception check.
25.
25 is very high. As you go to wonder about pulling up the tarp, you turn around and see the smile of the approaching wizard Kean. Ame, greetings.
Oh, hello.
I love your shawl.
Oh, thank you. I'm sorry, I don't believe that we've...
Formally been introduced. I'm the
No.
wizard Kean. It's a pleasure and an honor.
Lovely to meet you.
And you as well. Are you admiring the shrine here? It's a shame that they've covered it.
Is that what it is?
Yes, certainly.
May I see it?
Of course. Guards? And you see he claps, and a group of Imperial soldiers come out and remove the tarp, and you see the bullfrog there. Townsfolk look around like something's happening. There's about 8 soldiers gathered around right now. And you see that as they approach, about another 6 start walking down the harbor from one direction, another 6 start walking from the other. And you see, as he pulls it up, the fox, who is in his little seated posture with his butt on the ground and his 4 paws extended, is perfectly paralyzed. And you see that the wizard Kean reaches down, grabs him by the throat, holds him up. He's solid as a brick. You see, he goes, "Is this yours? I believe I saw this little chap speaking last night. You've ridden quite fast and hard from Bracken to here. Where is Sky, Ame?" I know he seems perfectly rigid, but trust me, I can break his neck.
Why would you do that?
You've absconded with a member of the Citadel.
I've absconded? Are you accusing me of kidnapping a full-grown wizard?
Oh, or did she leave under her own volition? Choose which fate you think is worse. Suvie and Ursulon, you see the rigid body of the fox. You see Kean's soft, bejeweled hand wrapped tightly around the fox's throat as he stares forward in surprise. Just a rictus of unmoving facial expression on this animal.
Can I make a perception check for Suvie?
Yes, give me perception.
I mean, I guess I also... There's a chance I'm looking for an invisible thing.
But yeah, give me your perception.
Yeah, Suvie's invisible. It's an 8. Or I guess Suvie was invisible and now has taken a new form, so I don't think I see. Are people gathering at this site, or is there still the same kind of movement?
Give me an insight with advantage.
Okay. 15.
This is bad, obviously. And the way in which it's bad is that the shrine was a complete trap. Any other path to 12 Brooks would have taken you guys 3 days. Think about 3 days of those checks. So the trap was set here. You don't know how Kean got here so fast, possibly one of the airships, but you don't recognize. You're looking up, and on that 15, you're not seeing any airships that were from Bracken. Possible that he just teleported here, hard to say. And you see him holding the fox. I think that you can just tell this is really bad. This is a time to not act carelessly. You see that Kean looks at you and says, "Ame, we are not here for you. We are here for the Wizard Sky. And it would be best for you to produce her. If you cannot produce her, then these fine soldiers are going to raise the butt of their war staves, and they're going to club you into death or unconsciousness here in front of all these people."
Wizard Kean, I apologize. There must be a misunderstanding. But if you're acting on behalf of the Citadel or the Imperium, I implore you, please, not to do this. And I say this not on behalf of myself or my friends, but on behalf of the Coven of Elders and of the station of which I am a representative. I, of course, do not wish any harm to befall myself or my familiar. Should any harm come to us, I cannot be responsible for the things that happen. This is not a threat. I do not say this in an effort to coerce or intimidate you. I say this because I do not want the people of this town and the soldiers surrounding us to come to harm. So please, can we go somewhere that we can have a civil conversation? You do not need to threaten me like this.
I don't like how you don't give me what I want. Everyone roll initiative.
12 for Suvie.
22.
19 for Ame and 15 for the fox, if that's anything.
I think we'll have the fox go on your initiative.
Gotcha.
Ursulon, you are first to act. You are I'm going to say you're about 80 feet away to get enough distance that you were not, like, clockable with her. You're a good distance away. You're about 80 feet away.
80 feet. Can I make another perception check? This time on threats and foes. I know that it's him with 6 soldiers, but also I'm worried about the skyship, and does it feel like there are more soldiers in other places that we don't, or that isn't immediately in the area?
Yes. I mean, truly, this is happening in the worst place for it to happen. You are at the harbor, in front of a shrine, on the steps. You see that as he's giving the order that these men are raising their weapons, they're gonna, people are gonna scream. They're gonna club a woman down in front of a shrine, and it is the most obscene, sacrilegious thing you've ever seen, and probably anyone that screams or joins or does anything is going to get attacked, injured, or killed as well. And there are 2 skyships over the city.
That feeling of care, thought. I brought us here. I'm as Suvie, that responsibility that Suvie put onto me is resonating deeply within Ursulon. I'm going to move directly toward this situation without revealing myself.
Great.
Without drawing Wavebreaker.
Great.
Without kind of making it apparent that I'm present.
Yeah.
Move 60 feet closer and bonus action cast Shield of Faith on Ame.
Go ahead and give me stealth.
20.
In the crowd, moving, shadows, glamour up. You are on the other side of the shrine, so you're like listening to what's happening. You have full cover from Kean. No one can get eyes on you, but you are listening with your ears and have a full understanding of what's happening in this moment. Ame, it is your turn.
I'm going to attempt to grab hold of the fox.
Great. Make an opposed athletics check. You are trying to beat a 17.
6.
You grab it. He chuckles as you attempt to wrest it from his hand. And you are both holding on to the animal as he squeezes down harder on the fox's neck, and you hear a pained whine come from its closed mouth. Any bonus action?
Can I hold bonus action until Fox goes?
Yeah, and the fox is going to get a roll at the end of the turn to try and come out of the paralyzed condition.
All right. I'm going to hold my bonus action until Fox goes.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a roll. The fox needs to roll a 16 or higher on the die.
9.
The spell stays on the fox as Kean sneers back a lip. You want your little pet back? You are still both gripping the animal, and he has failed his save. The magic that is paralyzing him in place. You realize that as he raised his voice in song, Kean put a spell on him.
In this moment, I know I can run, and I can get away clean and safe, but I cannot leave the fox.
In that case, I think you are frozen in this moment, and it is Kean's turn.
Yes.
How many hit points does Ame have?
Oh, God. 23.
Okay. 9, 10, 22. Okay. Kean looks at you and says, No. We don't draw blood from witches' little demons. Good night, Ame. Sweet jasmine sand emerges from his lips. You are so tired, and you collapse to the ground asleep. No save. Beats your hit point total. You drop.
Mechanically, does a retributive curse need me conscious to be activated?
Well, so as a reaction, you should be able to still do a retributive curse. You can still put a curse on this guy. It won't affect the spell working on you, but you can absolutely, yeah, for sure. So is there a retributive curse in this moment?
Yes. The moment that Ame touches the ground, a ripple escapes her body, and he feels shared suffering. So the first time he deals damage to another creature, he takes 1d6 plus proficiency psychic damage.
As you fall to the ground, you place this retributive curse on Kean, who feels that he can feel that power of when when Suvie put a hand on you, when other people have done this, and he has transgressed, and he feels this curse take effect that if he harms anything, great harm will come to him. He goes, my hands will remain clean. Guards, please bind and gag this creature, pointing to Ame. And you see the guards manacle, bind up. One of them takes a rag, shoves it into Ame's mouth, and ties it around the back of her head. Suvie, you are next to go.
Suvie's going to look around her and find a little building. And from it, she's going to point, like, she will put herself behind a wall so she is not seen from a window or a doorway, but points exactly where she knows he is in the town square and casts message. She knows the recipient, so she doesn't have to see him, and just sends, "Do you need to have a conversation with me, Wizard Kean?"
Most direly, Wizard Sky. Your presence is requested back at headquarters.
And Suvie will, then spend her movement coming out of the door, opening the door in this, very calm, too slow, too calculated method, makes direct eye contact with him, and gives a little nod.
Kean smiles. The guards are holding on to Ame, and he, with a flank of about 8 guards with him, is going to just walk and approach you. Reedport, dangerous town. Within 10 miles of enemy lines. Glad we were able to catch you here, Wizard Sky.
What are you catching?
The prince has requested your presence back in the city of Bracken.
Okay, that's fine. Why is the Witch of Toma bound and manacled?
It was believed you were kidnapped. You vanished without a trace.
I suppose I should have left a note. I was under the false impression I could come and go as I fucking pleased. Apologies.
I understand. The delusion you are operating under is a sad artifact of the insane pampering you have received your entire life, Princess. He leans in. He leans in and says, or do you think that the Wizard Silver did not divulge every one of your inane chatterings to his superiors as his training demanded?
The Wizard Silver is a love-struck puppy, and perhaps embellished what was meant to be used as a cover story so that I could slip away and follow an honored friend and a witch on whatever they deemed necessary. We can have this conversation on the way back. Can you please allow my people to go about their way?
My orders, as one that does receive and must follow orders, are to hold the witch and spirit here at Reedport, not to escort them back to Bracken where they may sow further discord or cause further harm. However, they will be kept safely here, and you will be able to plead a case for them in front of the prince. My friends here would be more than happy to escort you, as will I. You see that a group of horses are led over, and these are not the horses you rode in on, but a group of horses are led over. Imperial infantry saddle up. A couple other guild mages of the glass coronet are with them. These look like sort of more powerful wizards. And they begin to saddle up, and a horse is led over to you. The wizard Kean says, I am going to keep your friends on ice until such time as you and the Empire can arrive at what should be done with them.
Understood.
You are helped up into the saddle, and the horses gallop forward from this place.
I watch Suvie leave.
You are watching.
So what is Suvie?
Suvie will drop her disguise, so it is very clear as she was moving out into the open that she's like, cool, jig is up. The last thing I'll say is, Suvie would have let Vandal out of the bottle. So when it is safe enough, Vandal will be there to have a conversation with you.
Hell yeah. Vandal is waiting in the wings. The fox is still with the wizard Kean. As Suvie and her accompaniment ride out of the harbor area, or ride out of the promenade from Reedport, Kean turns around, looks at you, and strokes your cheek, and says, I can't wait to dangle you out in the shop window until that bear shows his face and I can put him on a leash. We're gonna make one last roll for the fox.
10.
The fox is shoved into a bag. The bag is tied shut. And Ursulon, you watch them walk away, but feel a sudden fuck suckers, as Vandal lands on your shoulder, swearing as you see Ame carted off. Suvie, the world raining down, you've made it so far. You're only 8 miles from enemy lines. These horses charging off, Imperial infantry wizards right back up the road you came. You passed through a line of trees. You've come so far. You see a massive watery tributary. This is like Reedport has left sight already. Trees obscuring from all sides. The sun is set. It is like twilight right now. It's that liminal space where all hope is lost. The sun has vanished into the west. And you see the soldiers sort of riding hard beside you. Give me a perception check.
15.
There is a long stone bridge in the style of this area of the Shroud Mountains. Low railings, sort of yellow, sandy gravel over the top of the bridge. And you see a massive river tributary underneath it with deep banks on either side. The trees are tall around here. You're kind of in orchard land at this point, far enough away from Reedport, and it is that weird twilight that almost sometimes has worse visibility than deep night. You know that twilight dusk time where it's like even harder to see at a distance? On that 15, the horses are picking up pace. And you see that the soldiers look sort of uncomfortable around you as the horses are picking up pace.
Why do the soldiers look uncomfortable?
Oh! Horses speeding up. The 2 horses in the front with the glass coronet dive over the side of the bridge into the water. 2 after them. Stop! Soldiers pulling back on reins. And you are over the fucking bridge into the water. And suddenly, a soldier's body in the bubbles and water around you. A tentacle wraps around his neck, strains it, crushes his spine, dead. A shark's mouth, blood, arms moving all throughout. You see another alligator rolling, and the alligator is wearing a saddle with reins and a bridle in its mouth. A massive clawed hand races through the water towards you. Its claws outstretched to slit your throat, and suddenly, purple light surrounds you. and you hear scream underwater in the bubbles as suddenly a massive constrictor snake moves, wraps around you. You vanish deep into the darkness of the water and vanish under the river. Ursulon, Suvie has ridden away, and you see that the wizard Kean, his forces, take Ame and the fox in a bag deeper into Reedport, closer to the town center. What are you doing?
I turn to Vandal. Vandal, are you in contact with your mistress?
Yeah, she's riding off with those horses and those asshole pieces of shit that captured her. God, I hate them.
I hate them as well. You can be quiet, yes?
Yeah.
Great. Do that.
All right.
Follow me. Less of that.
Huh?
I would like to follow Kean. I don't know how the town is laid out, but in my dreams, it's a one block over or one building over, moving along them, alongside them versus behind them.
Yes, absolutely. Go ahead, give me another stealth check. They're easy to tail. You don't have to make a roll about that. And Kean is walking with the swagger of a man in charge, so he's not even making a point to disguise himself.
Dirty 20.
You follow them and see that there's actually a moment where Kean addresses a group of soldiers who are heading towards where the airships are docked. And you see that he takes Ame and the fox and a group of about 6 other soldiers and 1 other glass coronet wizard, member of his guild, and walks into a butcher shop. So there's 2 soldiers at the door, there's 2 more inside. You see the other glass coronet wizard go, and from the corner where you're watching, he heads up a staircase, sort of towards the 2nd story of this little shop to sit and look out a window. So it's Kean and the other 2 soldiers take Ame and the fox into the back of this butcher's shop.
Can I do a perception check on the building? Does it feel like they have looked at every entrance and exit? Is there a chance there's one behind? General, any more information I can glean?
Give me a perception, and Vandal can give you the help action.
18 perception.
Okay.
And then I'm also wondering if I can do insight on just the energy. Is the energy, this is temporary? Is the energy we're settling in? Just anything I might be able to glean off of how the visible guards are acting.
Settled in.
Okay.
On an 18, there is a slanted cellar door in the back of this building. You can see it sort of around a little alleyway. You think that there's probably a cool cellar for meat at the bottom of this butcher's shop, and there is an entrance that doesn't appear to be watched or guarded right now back there.
Okay. Ursulon's gonna wait just a few minutes, just in case, just because he feel the settled in kind of attitude of the guards makes him feel like he doesn't, if he heard what was being said earlier, Ame is not going to come to harm. Doesn't feel like they are eager to injure or maim Ame. And the fact that they cast the sleep spell, I think, is taking pressure off of Ursulon to charge in and draw sword and try and kill everybody.
Give me an insight check with advantage.
21.
Yeah, this is another trap. And you've got this guy dead to rights. The tarp over the bullfrog was a trap for Ame. This is a trap for you. It is a butcher shop. It's meant to give you every indication that he's going to take her back there and torture her. And if that was the case, what was that sleep spell? And you know that there is a degree that you are being expected to act on instinct and impulse here. And, we've talked about the wizards relying on wisdom, and we've talked about the witches relying on charisma, these sort of secondary spellcasting. And this is intelligence. There's a moment here where you go, no, doesn't add up. And so you know that you're meant to act fast, that there's something here that you're supposed to go charging in. And sitting here, you realize that maybe time is actually your friend. Suvie. Water everywhere. I'm going to need a Constitution saving throw.
Yeah. 9.
You begin to drown. You suck water deep into your lungs and cannot help but hack and cough and spurt under the water. You are moving so fast. There is a massive constrictor that has wrapped you up in its coils and swims through the water. You feel shapes around you. Some kind of massive octopus or squid, some shark. There are huge things in the river basin, and suddenly you feel darkness, scratch, a little bit of scratching on your face, bleeding of moving. This is just you being dragged through root, dirt, river mud, and suddenly coughing, sputtering air.
What do I see when I look around?
There's 2 little oil lamps. There's a wooden table that has some papers rolled out on it. You're in a smuggler's cave. There's a series of chests up against a wall. You see some provisions. No weapons or armaments, because the people that populate this can grow those themselves. And you look and see a crocodile about 25 feet long pull itself up, spit a bridle out of its mouth as it turns into a man. And you see these horses may not have been horses after all. 10 miles is pretty close for comfort, enemy lines and all. And you see a massive shape emerge from the water. Hulking, bestial, like a gorilla, hyena, primate. And a shape looks at you, moves its claw, purple light surrounds you, and Yoren says, "Why can't I hurt you?" The other shape changers look completely assured of your instant death if they want it, and nakedly walk out of the water. You see there's a couple saddles and bridles that they sort of toss off to the side. They walk up and begin to eat and sit down to watch the boss work. You're sort of surrounded by this glowering crew of incredibly dangerous men and women who watch you naked, covered in blood. One of them licks in their cheek and pulls out a finger from an Imperial soldier, throws it on the ground. And Yoren's hulking shape, larger than you saw him that night in Silbury, the last time you saw him. "Why can't I hurt you?" Iron tusks and blood spills out of his open mouth.
Yoren.
He doubles back.
"How do you know my name? Stand up in the light!"
Suvie, coughing and sputtering, pushes herself to standing. And before she steps fully into the light, she goes back and tries to remember the bearing of her mother. "I thought she told you not to frighten her child." And Suvie steps into the light.
The shape changers around you furrow their brow at this indecipherable statement, and Yoren falls back on his haunches, absolutely flabbergasted. The shape of a massive Garin, a monster of the spirit world, as he crouches. "What? You? I cannot believe it.
I don't know your name anymore.
I am the wizard Sky, daughter of Soft and Stone.
Sky is your cloak. Well, you took a few lives of mine at Abyssin, didn't you?
And he stalks past you and shifts down into the shape of a man. Walks over to a pair of trousers, pulls them up, turns around, looks at you, and you see salt and pepper hair, older man, tense face. He stares at you with a look of confusion and curiosity.
Suvie is still in that place of, I'm already dead, because if he can figure out how to kill me, he just will. So that, like, takes away any sense of, like, self-preservation in this interaction. And so she just kind of shrugs. Well, I guess that makes us even, since you killed my parents. Doesn't it?
What are you talking about?
You deny it.
I deny it. What are you talking about? Killed your parents? I didn't kill your parents.
The last time I saw you, they sent me away. You went off to do whatever you do. And then a 6-year-old girl was picked up by Steel and told that her parents died at your hands. And I've been waiting to see you ever since.
If I had, we would settle it here and now. You'd have every right to seek your vengeance. I betrayed your parents, but I didn't slay them. I don't know how they died.
Why?
Why? Why did I betray them? Why did I? Because they had lost their minds. Why were you under Imperial Guard? Where were you being escorted?
Okay, this is... Can I have a towel at least?
Thought you were an Empire wizard. Can't you do some magic about being wet?
I figured if I did some magic, one of you would kill me.
We would.
Okay, calm down, you. Eat your finger.
You see, Yoren laughs at that. He goes, yeah, tosses a towel, crosses his arms and cocks his head and looks at you. Says, Steel told you point blank that I killed Soft and Stone.
Yep. And Suvie's just drying her hair. And if you need to know, I was being escorted, sort of half arrested, back to give an account for why I fled from Bracken.
You were half arrested.
Yeah, it was sort of a soft arrest.
Apple doesn't fall far. On your passive investigation, this cave is wild. There's supplies and provisions and things like that here. You also see there are some chests of what look like stolen Imperial goods. And there's a map of the Shroud Mountains that has a couple of sites that have been X'd out on it. And it doesn't look like anything that corresponds to what the Empire is dealing with. It seems like Yoren's fighting a secret war in these mountains under the cover of the bigger war between Gauthmai and the Empire.
Suvie trying to, through her... She's still doing the, I'm dead. You might as well just say what's in your heart. Sort of false bravado. Sees that information and attempts to commit it to memory, but there's a lot going on and she's overwhelmed. And she will start, tapping her fingers just like she did when she was a little kid, trying to commit it to memory.
Yoren goes over and tosses just a hunk of bread to you.
She catches it.
Goes and says, so half arrested by the Empire.
They're still pretending to be nice to me. I'm very useful. Big, like too big a bite of how crusty is this bread? Because Suvie's going to overbite and maybe lose what little dignity she has, sort of gnawing on it.
I think at this point, you have moved through such a liminal space. Like, you died in that river. Is this a dream? Have some bread.
Yeah. Great.
And Yoren just sits on the ground, and you see that the other shape changers, seeing this change in energy, kind of go off on their own. Some of them go to sleep. Others are, like, busy prepping or planning something else. You see a few of them take some of the wet things out of the river bag, like spell books of fallen soldiers, things like that, start to review and go through them. And Yoren just sits on the cold, damp, muddy dirt of this smuggler's cave, cross-legged opposite you, and chewing on some bread, goes, you killed some good people in Abyssin of mine.
For what it's worth, I'm kind of sorry. You were going to kill my boyfriend. This bread is thick.
You see, Yoren nods, says, I don't know who your boyfriend is, but yes, I was probably going to kill him.
It's okay, we broke up. And I want to turn and point to the people kind of going through effects. And if I see any like embossing or insignia for the coronet, I'll point out and be like, prioritize that. That's going to be better stuff. Don't worry about the soldiers.
You see, they look around. Yoren is just fully, his wrinkled forehead, eyes so wide in a kind of amused wonder. And he turns and nods to the shape changers here, nods to his soldiers. You see, he goes, I never knew how Soft and Stone died. We went to Silbury to drop you off with Wren because she had already bowed out at that point, and you needed to be safe.
Bowed out?
Do you know, I mean, what would you know?
Okay. I understand that you're trying to recontextualize because I was a little kid. I don't love that tone.
You are Stone's daughter. I cannot believe. All right.
And so he was just going to sit down, cross-legged in front of him. Just get comfortable, post up. I'm dead, so why not have a fun conversation as my brain fires every neuron simultaneously as I drown in a river?
I knew that Soft and Stone were sent to spy on me. But I knew that they were more sent to spy on the houses of Gauthmai. When I first met them, this was early days Citadel. Soft was exploring the near spirit, and Gauthmai was experimenting with ways to get around teleportation wards. In any case, I knew that they were Citadel rats, but fuck the houses of Gauthmai and fuck the sorcerers, and so I said, let's work together. But I got to know them, and I just... Well, everyone's a bastard in this line of work, but they were all right. We started working together, and it started to run parallel for me with the help they were giving me and Gauthmai to help them out with this thing called the League of Whispers. You've heard that term.
I don't know much, but yes.
The League was, to their understanding, a rot, a cabal, a conspiracy within the Citadel. And a group formed called the Acaditor, which mostly was wizards of the Citadel, but some allies outside myself and Grandmother Wren included. Amongst various and sundry other tasks, the Acaditor worked outside of the chain of command of the Citadel, which is not very legal. So,
Yeah. They don't like it when you don't do what they say.
no. But steel, soft, stone, friends in the Artificers Guild and Haverward and other places, they wanted to save the Citadel. They thought that this League of Whispers had taken over and was... There were a number of pieces of important research that they believed the League was involved in that were going to warp the mission of the Citadel and change, I don't know, in their wizards. No offense.
I'm taken.
We had been working for years, and the day before Ruve attacked, the Acaditor had its breakthrough and caught what they believed to be the leaders of the League of Whispers, brought them to justice. Enormous victory. And learned that the League of Whispers was acknowledged and accommodated by the leadership of the Citadel. No rot, no cabal, just another name for another compartment for another task.
Can I insight check him? I need this to be a lie. Real bad.
Give me an insight check.
Natural 20.
I cannot believe that.
Fuck. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. I'm not gonna touch it.
Damn.
On a nat 20, Yoren believes every word he is saying. Fully, truthfully, powerfully.
One sec. And Suvie's going to push herself up to standing. And vomit.
Yoren, his steely, dangerous, feral composure completely subsides and he goes, "Whoa!" and gets up and rushes over and grabs you, and you see, helps you down to the floor, rushes over to a canteen and gets water. And you see he opens it, whispers something into the neck, and you just smell sweet honeysuckle. You've never seen Yoren cast a nice spell before, and he hands the canteen to you.
Suvie's gonna look down at it and pray that he has just made poison very sweet. And I know it's very dramatic, but Suvie feels like she is dying right now. And then is gonna sip it. And it tastes so good. Thank you. I'm sorry. And I'm gonna prestidigitate the sort of river water, little bit of bread, barf. Can I have a new bread?
Yeah. Hey, toss me a new bread. And you see someone tosses it over and he hands it to you.
Okay, let's keep going.
So, the jig was up, and we walked out of there feeling like our guts had been hollowed out, and up was down and black was white, and like the sky and the sand couldn't tell one
You
from
don't
the
have
other.
to do all those metaphors. I get it. I just threw up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm feeling it. In this moment.
There were some loose threads left. There was this last mission that was part of my thing, which was going after this sorceress Nahani in Gauthmai. That she was preparing a ritual at the tomb of Urshana the Eighth. It's one of the sun kings of old Gauthmai. So that was the plan. That's what we were going to do, because there was still a possibility that there was worry about mind control, and maybe there had been an enchantment placed on some of the Archmagi of the Citadel, and Ruve attacked the very next day. And so we had to get out, and the only safe place to stow you if the Citadel wasn't going to be safe was Grandmother Wren's. So to Silbury we went, and there were attack ships waiting for us in Silbury. So the jig was up. And by the time that was done and we got all the way to Gauthmai, Soft and Stone looked at me and they said, "We're going to split up. We have to run down these leads over here that are going to be Citadel top secret and you're not going to be able to accompany us there. So we will see you we will rendezvous outside of the tomb of the Sun King. We'll meet up at our waypoint, and we'll take the tomb and try to stop this ritual. And I separated from them and realized that my friends had lost their mind. That we had been made, and that I had said over and over again, this is pointless. There's nothing left for us to do here. And they couldn't or wouldn't give up. But you don't live doing what I do for as long as I've lived, making bad bets. We lost. Time to stand up from the table and walk away. And they didn't have that in them.
So what did you do?
Went to ground, got back in touch with some of my old friends, other people working against Gauthmai, and I said, I've spent enough time on the Empire. Time to focus my efforts back on my homeland. And I did that for 10 or so years, and then realized that pretty soon the Empire is going to be all of our business. Maybe I was foolish to walk away. I don't know.
I think you made the best choice you could with the information you had. This won't mean anything, 'cause I'm dead at the bottom of a river. But I'm sorry for spending the lion's share of my life hating you.
I don't know that I deserve kind thoughts or feelings. Sky, I'd hate me too. That's what this all is. It's a giant churning machine, and it makes monsters out of men. And I've had to be a monster just to try to stop it. And don't think it's lost on me that means the machine worked.
We have that in common.
He reaches out and puts a hand on you. You're not dead at the bottom of a river. There's a frightening, violent, unhappy world waiting out there. But you're not dead. And every morning that there's blood pumping in your body, you get to decide what to do about that big bad world waiting for you out there.
Yeah.
Where were you trying to get to?
Oh, God. I kind of hope I'm dead. Okay. And Suvie's just gonna, kind of push back from his hand and, post up, takes another bite of the bread, and is going to explain the rough game plan of herself, Ursulon, and Ame trying to, slip past Gauthmai's, siege in order to get into 12 Brooks to stop the Empire.
As you lay out this plan, you see Yoren's eyes go wide and his jaw opens. You see the other shapechangers who've kind of been playing cards and fucking around. As you start talking about this plan, they can't help but be interested and start to turn around and look. Yoren, look at the end of your story, looks over at you and says, Why? Why get to the middle of 12 Brooks? What's the plan you're trying to stop?
There's a bunch of children. They're keeping children!
The Greneau. That's where they are?
Yes.
You want some help?
Yes.
That was Lou Wilson as Ursulon, Erika Ishii as Ame, Aabria Iyengar as Suvie, and Brennan Lee Mulligan as everyone and everything else. Worlds Beyond Numbered is edited, designed, and scored by Taylor Moore at Fortunate Horse, with additional sound design from Michael Gelfi Studios. For even more like this, join us on our Patreon. We'll see you there.